Okay, I can't really tell. All right. Oh, looks like I am live. Hey, everyone. It's me, Anthony Gamer. I hope everyone's having a great day, and finding plenty of stuff to do. This is my usual Wednesday night live stream. I hope we get some folks out here tonight. So, one of my subscribers had sent me a message, and he had asked, which do you prefer, the Atari 700 or the Atari 5200? Okay. And I told him I would have to think about it for a few days. And so I have. I've been spending, since I uploaded the last episode, I've been thinking about it. And here's kind of what I've decided. Now, I actually owned a 7800 back in the day. We had been a 2600 family, and we had played the heck out of the poor 2600. I think it finally was broke, dead or dying. And then the 7800 came out, many years later during the renaissance that Atari experienced, or video games period, because thanks to the NES. And so my dad got us the 7800. Now, we didn't have a 5200. As I'd said before in other live streams and messages, my father had heard that it wasn't very good. He heard it was junk or something, and we didn't have it. And he also had heard that you couldn't play 2600 games on the 5200. In which, of course, he wasn't going to. This was years ago. Now people don't think anything about getting the newest system, regardless of whether the games that they had before can still be played on it. Like most of us have gotten the PS1, then we had the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and then PlayStation 4. But, that's just kind of the mentality now, how it is. And many of us don't think anything of that. Now, back in the 80s when we had the 2600, we had quite a few games. And so my dad didn't see any point of getting a new game system that you couldn't play the old games on, since we had spent so much money on the games for the 2600. Of course, now, I've heard that back in the day, there was a converter of some sort that you could use on the 5200 to play 2600 games, but I'm not really sure. I've heard kind of mixed things about it. Some people said, yeah, they had one, but it didn't work very well. And, that's the saddest part about the 5200 was all the problems it had, with the hardware mostly, of course. Hardware was the problem, joysticks. Honestly, I had the hardest. I couldn't believe when I'd heard about it, because, like I said, none of my friends had a 5200. All my friends pretty much had 2600s. A couple had 7800s, but then all of us had NESs, Nintendos. So, okay. But anyway, so with all those issues, and of course it wasn't, it was just sad. I feel bad, especially when I started the channel and I was collecting emulators and I got to play the 5200, and I'm like, holy crap, these games are amazing. Real amazing. Of course, I'm preaching to the choir here, because you guys that are in the 5200 Brotherhood, that these games were just unbelievable, even by today's standards. The 5200 games were just amazing. Especially, I could just spend a whole live stream talking about the great games on the 5200, because there were just so many of them. Even the prototypes. I've done 2 episodes on prototypes already, and all you gotta do is look at these prototypes and you're like, wow, what would they have been like if they were finished? They were great even when they weren't finished, even unfinished. So anyway, so I didn't discover the 5200 until the last few years, within about the last 5 years. And so I grew up with a 2600 and then a 7800. And of course, the 7800 had its own games. as well as it could play the 2600 games. Well, most. There were some games that you couldn't play on it, like Star Master and a few others. But for the most part, you could play a large percentage of the 2600 games on the 7800. And the games for the 7800 were great. I mean, it came with Pole Position 2, which was a really awesome game. Then you had Food Fight, Choplifter, and then you had some real stinkers. I'm going to talk about that in a video. I'm going to do a video soon. When I get done with all the 5200 things, I'm going to go into the 7800. And there were some really bad games for the 7800. I mean, there were some real bad ones. And those are the ones, of course, that are valuable. There weren't a whole lot of games for the 7800 anyway. It's like I think because it had such a short shelf life, the 7800 didn't have a whole lot of games for it. And of course, the time period when it came out, the NES was ruling the world, and it was like too little, too late. So it was too bad, because given some time, they would have had some good stuff on it. Okay, so now, to really be honest, there were shortcomings of both. Like I said, the 5200 had issues with the controllers. And then, that was the thing, which is too bad, because, I mean, you look at the controllers, they look cool. I mean, they do. But the 5200 had great games, great prototypes, just the games were, wow. I mean, it's really hard I can't really, honestly, off the top of my head, I really can't think of a bad 5200 game. I haven't played them all yet, but I mean, I haven't really come across any. Okay, so the strength of the 5200 is the games. The games were the big thing. And like I said, when I say a good percentage, I mean almost all of them. One that really sticks out to me is got to be Real Sports Baseball, because it had, voice in it. I mean, you had not only the cheering crowd, you had that in the 2600 version of Real Sports Baseball, but you also had the announcing. And for that time period, to have a game with sound was just, I mean, with a real human voice or a computer generated human voice was just amazing. I mean, the television had it too. We can't ever forget Base 17 Bomber. We can't ever forget that. But okay, so continuing, the strength in the 5200 was the games, and not just that, what could have been, because now you've got some geniuses out there. I met several of them on Atari Age that are making and fixing the joysticks for the 5200. Is one guy, I wish I could show you the picture of this joystick he and a friend designed. I mean, wow. I mean, it looks really cool. And of course it works. And I would really like to have a 5200. So if any of you that are watching this or going to watch this afterwards, hit me up and let me know. I really, really would like to get a 5200, even if it's in parts and I have to get it, a piece here, a piece there, and then put it together. I'm willing to do that. Just let me know. Send me a message. Leave it in the comment section below, because I really would like to have one. Okay, so that's the 5200. Now the 7800. And I'll be honest, I really didn't like the joystick. It was just, if you've never seen it, it's really strange. It's got the base is this long kind of thing. It's supposed to fit in your hand, and you play it like this, with whatever your dominant hand is, the joystick, and you had a button on each side. I don't know. I guess I'd been so used to doing this, joystick up here, button up here, down here. I guess I was so used to doing that. It was a big adjustment. And I'll admit, by that time, I actually had an NES, or I was going over to friends' houses and playing an NES. So I was kind of getting used to the whole joypad thing, thumbs, And so there's that. Now, the games were hit or miss. You had some really good games, but the really good games were arcade ports. Like I said, Choplifter, great, especially since I sucked at the arcade game at the time. I'm pretty good at it now. And I'm going to be doing an AVP episode with Choplifter soon because that game is really special. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay. Fast Food. Man, I love that game. I play that game. I play that game one for just hours on end. I said Pole Position 2. The Mean 18 Golf. I discussed that in a preview in my episode about golf. And the reason that game was interesting was because it was the first game to use the 3-tap method, when you're swinging the club. If you haven't played Mean 18 Golf, I highly recommend it. I'm a big golf fanatic. I love golf. I love discussing golf. I love watching golf. I just love golf. I really wish I could play it in real life, but I love golf. I really am going to learn. That's one of my goals after all this is done. I want to learn to play golf. I mean, really play it, because I can tell you about the clubs. I can tell you about terminology and all that stuff, but I can't actually physically play it. I'll be honest, though, I'm really good at putt-putt. I really am good at miniature golf. I've always been good at that. But I'm trying to think, were there any other games ever? Oh, yeah, Ninja Golf. God, I love that game so much. Yeah, that was a good one. Very original. I don't think that was a port. I believe that was totally original. And that game was fun. Oh, man. And then, of course, you had the remakes. You had Asteroids that was redone. And then you had the Pac-Man games that were done. Yeah. Oh, and that horrible version of Karateka. Oh, God. How you can take one of the best computer games ever made and just ruin it, I don't know. So, yeah, it was really hit or miss with the games. Yeah, a lot of times it's more miss than hit. So to answer your question, yes, I will. Sorry, I got my mix all talked up. I prefer the 5200 over the 7800. Yep, it just makes perfect sense because, it just does. Even with all the issues, the hardware issues that the 5200 had, you can still, if you don't have an actual 5200, like unfortunately I don't, and I'm hoping to remedy that someday. I mean, you can play the games on the emulator, like on Cat 5200. I discussed that in my emulators episodes, which you guys really should watch, because I give a lot of good information on there about emulators to use and stuff for each particular, game system or computer. It's really one you should see. If you haven't watched it yet, please go back and check them out. I'm not just saying that because I made them. Excuse me. I'm saying that because there's a lot of real valuable information that you guys probably should know about emulators, because let's face it, a lot of us use them. But are you using the right ones? Are you using the best ones? And if you're having problems with them, why are you having problems? Well, I kind of address a lot of those issues in those 2 episodes. So please check those out. So, oh yeah, the 5200, sorry. But yeah, the 5200, if you play the games on an emulator, you're just like, wow. These are amazing games. They are. And some people are still making homebrews of them. There was a really cool one I believe it was about a year or 2 ago. Somebody made a Real Sports Curling. I loved it. It was hard. Wasn't an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. But curling's not an easy sport either. I used to be real big into curling, and it's not an easy sport. I tried it, and people are like, oh, it looks easy. It looks like it's no big deal. Oh, it is. If you're an armchair athlete, oh boy. I went to the Chicago Curling Club, and I went on a day where they had this, where you could pay like $50, and they're like, all right, we'll teach you to curl and all that stuff. And oh boy, that was not fun. Anyway, so Yeah, like I said, the 5200 definitely is my choice over between that and a 7800. Of course, I'm never going to say anything's better than 2600. So, yeah, don't even ask that. That'll always be my number one game system. Number two being the NES, of course. But I'll be getting into the NES here soon. As, like I said, I got to take care of the older systems first. But actually, I'm really kind of chomping a bit about the NES. So I think after I get the 5200 stuff done, I'm going to go jump ahead to the NES. And then I'll come back to Intellivision, ColecoVision, and those. Mostly because I don't really care for... ColecoVision was not and probably never will be one of my favorite consoles. I'm sorry if someone's like, oh, that's terrible. Okay, if you say so. I just didn't care for it. Now, I'll be honest with you about one thing, though. They had some great learning games and great kids' games. Really, they did. I'm going to have an episode about that soon because I'm still going to keep going on with my kids and learning games. ColecoVision had some great learning in kids' games. I mean, great ones that were not just for little kids either. I mean, you know, and you'll see those in an upcoming episode. There were some great ones on there. That they had. I was really impressed. I was like, wow, I never knew. But, when you do research, you learn things, That's kind of the problem, I think, with a lot of people is they form an opinion and don't do the research. And that applies to a lot of things in life. Then sometimes you already pretty much know ahead of time that something's going to suck, I was wondering what that noise was. Anyway, where was I? Okay, yeah. So, but then I'm gonna do the NES. And now, if you thought there were a lot of prototypes for the 2600, and there's a nice amount for the 5200, there were a whole lot for the NES, and I mean a whole lot. I was just shocked at how many. Well, not really. Still, I was a little surprised with the large number of prototypes that the NES had, or unreleased games, and then unlicensed games. Most of the time when I think a lot of people think of unlicensed games, because many of us that are gamers, we probably all watch the Angry Video Game Nerd, and we think of unlicensed games, we think of usually those Bible games, or, that Little Red Hood, which incidentally I liked. But there were quite a few more. Oh yeah, there were a lot. And I was also kind of surprised at how many there were for the Sega Genesis. Yeah, there's quite a few for that too. Not a large amount, but still more than I kind of thought there would be. So that's going to be stuff that's coming up. On my other channels, I have the game one, the first game, the classic Game Boarder 74. That one did pretty well. I was impressed. The numbers weren't that great, like as opposed to some of my others, but it was the first one, and I think that one's going to do better as time goes on. And that one's one I really recommend channel wise, because I'm going to talk about board games, and like I said, with everything going on now, this is the time to go into the attic, go into the closet, under the bed, whatever, and pull out those old board games. This is the time for that. And I think the first one that I recommended, Sorry, was a pretty good one. I think that, the whole family can enjoy. And like I said, there's a few rules, there's rules, of course, to the game that, I discuss, that you kind of have to learn about, what card does what, number does what, and what you can and can't do. But you pick it up pretty quick, especially if you play it frequently. I almost said frequency. And the next one I'm going to do is Yahtzee, which, is actually a lot more fun than I think people give it credit for. Because let's face it, people like dice games. That's just how some people are wired. They love dice games. And Yahtzee was probably one of the first original dice games. And it's a lot of fun. you can also play it solitaire style. I did that yesterday just to kind of not really relearn, but kind of getting back to what I would, what I had, get back into Yahtzee playing mode, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. I've forgotten how much fun it was. So, but there are several other games coming up. In the intro to in the introduction to the first episode, I have several games in there, and I'm just going to keep going with these. Like I said, every week, because people may have these around the house. I mean, some people keep a lot of stuff, and you don't know what you have sometimes, or did you forgot what you had, and you see like a video like that, and you're like, don't we have that game somewhere? And then you go, oh yeah, we did. Okay, well, everyone gather around the table. Let's play. Let's have family game night. I mean, they advertise it all the time on TV, so why not? And I'm going to keep talking about several other games coming up, like not family games. I'm also going to talk about, now here's a blast from the past for some of us. Remember those VCR games? I got a couple of those. Oh, those were fun. And even if you don't have a VCR anymore, there's a couple people on eBay that sell DVDs. They've taken the VCR, the videotape, and put the stuff on a DVD. So you can find those online, or maybe break out the VCR if you still have it. You could do that. And those games don't go for too bad. I have one of the first title I'm going to talk about. I don't want to give it away, but I found it still in the box, sealed up. I think I only paid like $30 for it, and I was like, cool. I was really excited because I'm not going to say too much about it, but it's a lot of fun. Actually, all those VCR games were fun. The one I'd really like to try, I don't have, and I'd like to see if I can find it, is the Clue one, because I love Clue. I'm going to talk about Clue. There's also a computer game version of Clue that was released in the mid-90s. If you remember, Hasbro put out a bunch of those board games. Hey, Carson, kitty, one of my cats. They did quite a few of those, and remember, they put them in cereals. Remember back in the day when we were kids and cereals had prizes in them? Remember those? Yeah, that was cool in the that was like a 95, 96, 97, right around that area. They had all these the General Mills cereals all had these games, CD-ROM games with them, and they were all board games. There was another one I was trying, but I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, so there's going to be quite a few games coming up, because I got quite a few. Yeah, I had a child. I have a daughter, and when she was little, we used to play board games constantly, all the time. Not only that, but I taught her to read before she went to school, and I read to her all the time. And then people always wonder why my daughter is such a genius. Why she's a great writer, why she's a great artist. And, I don't know. I don't know where she gets it from. Anyway, so that's what to look out for on that part. Also, the musical memories, that's where I should be wrapping up the Leonard Skinner series here shortly. And then I'm going to go to my all-time favorite band. Give you a hint. See, check that out. Yeah, so that'll be next. I'm considering maybe doing a separate video channel just about heavy metal, because those are basically my two favorite genres are heavy metal and classic rock. But then I also like 90s and before country. So I don't know. You can't have, I guess there's probably such a thing as too many channels. And then I've also got another one coming up shortly that my wife is going to help me out with. That should be coming soon. So yeah, I got a lot going on, and working on a new book too. I don't know if I always put a link in my videos for you to check out my books. So, feel free to check. They're all on Amazon. Most of my books are available in print, in paperback, and an ebook. And I set the prices as low as I can, because my last name isn't King or Steele or Grisham. So, well, nobody's been coming around yet. So I think a lot of people are going to watch this afterwards. So, anyway, I'll just keep going for a few more minutes, I guess. So anyway, I'm also going to go back to doing those videos I did called the Instant Classics, because I've got some cool games on my PS4 that I'm going to show. Because I got some really cool ones on there. I've already recorded the game footage, so just going to get it in there somewhere. Also, I'm going to do a video really soon, an episode on hunting games. I've been getting back into those pretty heavy. Probably going to get back into it, period, next year. I'm got some of the equipment I need. I got to go get some more equipment, of course. And I got some pretty cool places to hunt on private property of people that I know that I'm sure will allow me to go. But I want to take that class again that the DNR offers, because it's been so long since I've done it in real life. I'm going to take that course. And then you probably just get a lifetime license. One of the joys of being in Indiana, we can get a lifetime hunting license, and we get a lifetime. Hold on a second. What are you doing? Hey, what you playing with? Huh? What you got there? Oh, this is my cat. He's playing with a bottle cap. He just loves those things. Actually, he stashes them somewhere. I don't know where it is. We found his stash years ago when he was a lot littler, and he stashed them under the recliner. And I mean, there were bunches of them. I mean, wow, there had to be at least 50 of them under there. And then we cleaned them out, and we know he's still collecting them, but we just don't know where he puts them. Matter of fact, he actually stole my, I have a wireless joypad that I use when I record footage here, and there's a little plug thing. It kind of looks like a jump drive, and you plug it into the side of the computer, and then it gets a signal from the joypad. He actually stole it one night when I was doing some downloading and cleaning up on the computer. He actually stole it, batted it away, and I still haven't found it. Now, I've asked him several times, what did you do with it? Where is it? And he doesn't answer. He kind of stares at me blankly like this and doesn't say. So maybe I'll get it out of him eventually. I asked the other two cats, and they won't say anything. Well, Evie does, my Siamese. She'll go, meow, but I don't know what she's saying. So hopefully he'll turn up. But I actually ordered a new one, because to be honest with you, that joypad was, and I never dropped the thing. But boy, it's just they don't make stuff to last like they did when I was a kid. And I mean, you've seen those PS3 joy. As a matter of fact, I have it here. Let me get it real quick. See, I've kind of wore down. See, you can see how I've worn. This thing is just kind of hanging on. Yeah, it's a nice one, honestly, but like I said, it's seen better days, and there's a couple cracks and stuff down here. So, yeah, like I said, it was about time to get a new one. But him, running off with the receiver thing, that kind of helped hasten my purchasing a new one. Unfortunately, I still haven't gotten it in the mail with all this stuff going on. Mail has been really bad. I actually ordered a couple albums. Now, many of you, of course, those of you that watch my other channel, Musical Memories, you know that I'm discussing Leonard Skinner right now. And one of the things that's coming up is I'm going to discuss some spin-off things from Leonard Skinner. And one of those is the Rossington Collins Band. Now, I wanted to get the actual albums of, they put out 2 albums, and I think a third, but that may not have been an official. and I have them in digital, but I wanted to actually have the albums. And so I ordered them weeks ago. And I checked the tracking, and they're in another part of the country, and I don't know when they're getting here, you know. So, and then I ordered an album on impulse. I actually ordered a picture disc. Now, I'm also a big Maiden fan, you know, and I think most people that have taste are also Maiden fans. And so I was looking through eBay, and which is a place I should avoid. I know. And there was my favorite Iron Maiden album, Number of the Beast, on a picture disc. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. I have a couple. Actually, I think I only have one. I have a picture disc of the Styx album, Pieces of Eight, which I gave to my dad, and then I inherited when he passed in 2012. So, yeah, that was one of my dad's favorite albums when I was a kid. To play the heck out of it, which, you know, who's complaining? Who's going to say, "Oh, you play too much Styx"? Huh? I mean, it's like that just makes no sense to say something like, "You play too much Styx." Okay. Would you rather I play rap music? No. Well, all right, then shut up. Jeez. It's funny when people say stupid shit like stupid stuff like that, and you give them a worse alternative. Suddenly, it's, you know, they kind of see the error of their ways. Anyway, back to the original thing. I saw Number of the Beast on, you know, picture disc, and I'd love to get more picture discs. Some things are just so cool, and I think they actually are sturdier than regular records. I'm looking at this really cool collection if I ever decide to order anything again online, you know, because like I said, things are just taking, the mail is just all kinds of messed up. There was a really cool collection they had of King Diamond picture discs, and I love King Diamond. Anyway, so I bid on it. I bid on that Iron Maiden, and I'm like, somebody will outbid me, you know, because I had a bunch of people watching it, and I think you know what happened. This probably happened to you before. I bid on it, and then all of a sudden I got an alert saying you won. I'm like, oh, I won. Oh no, which was okay, you know, in a way. I kind of half, you know, wanted it, and half of me thought that I'd get outbid. So I sent the money, of course, and now here I am, weeks later, still waiting on it. Oh God, I can't wait till this stuff is done. Hopefully sooner than later. Not just for that, but just for all, you know, for everything, for all reasons. I just got a call today from a friend I haven't talked to in a long time, my friend Katie, and I was really happy to hear from her because she was a flight attendant where I work. Well, she was, and then she was actually, before she was stuck in Spain, and of course I was really worried, and then I hadn't heard from her, and she finally called back today, and so I was just happy to hear that she was okay. You know, because I've got to call that guy about this. I'm so sick of these pop-ups. But anyway, so that was good. You know, it's always good to hear from a friend that, you know, you haven't talked to in a while, friend or family that you haven't talked to in a while, and they, you know, are able to call you up and say, hey, I'm fine. You know, I'm getting cabin fever, but I'm fine. You know, that's a good thing. You know, because I was really happy to hear from Katie. Hopefully I'll hear back from some more people that I've contacted so I can know that they're okay. And I hope you guys are all okay, because like I said, it's 34 minutes in and nobody's here. So I did let people know I was going to be on, but who knows? You know, I mean, it seems like, you know, there's lots of bands and stuff doing free concerts, and so, you know, I guess people got better stuff to watch than a fat guy talking about video games that plays with puppets. Whatever. Anyway, so, but yeah, like I said, I was thinking about doing a side channel about just heavy metal. I'm probably going to do that because, you know, I can keep the regular musical memories I can have for classic rock, country, and other stuff, and then just the other one, just strictly heavy metal, because there's lots and lots and lots of heavy metal bands I like in different genres. I mean, different subgenres like black metal, death metal, Viking metal, doom metal, groove metal, sludge metal, power. Don't really care for metalcore, and don't really care for grindcore that much, but just about every other subgenre and then subgenre I'm into pretty much. So, and pure metal. All right, I'm not going to sit here and just list all the different types of metal. But anyway, so that's probably something I'm going to do. So it just depends. Like I said, I really enjoyed doing this. It's really a lot of fun for me to be able to make the videos. I'm really sick of these pop-ups. This is really getting annoying. And of course, it's late. It's 9 o'clock here. So I can't call the guy that usually helps me with my computer because it's after 9 o'clock. And what's the rule? After 9 and before 9. Something like that, I think. But anyway, so I've got to get this taken care of. This is just becoming aggravating as heck, all these pop-ups. You can hear it every once in a while. You hear that ding. That's what that is. So anyway, but yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff I'm in the middle of right now. I'm also finally going to be finishing up a book that I started a while ago. Now, to let you know how behind I am on this book, I actually have had the cover for like almost 2 years. I mean, that's like the last thing you're supposed to do is get the cover of a book. I've actually had it. I had it designed by someone I know that designs book covers really well. If you ever read my book, Bride of Blood, she's the same person that designed that cover. So I got to get that one done. I really do. It's really sad when you had a cover for so long and not the book, and the book's not finished yet. But actually, the woman that designed the cover for me says she's in the same boat. So, but anyway, so yeah, we're about almost 40 minutes in, and nobody's here except me, which means you guys will probably watch this after I'm done. So anyway, well, I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's, finding ways to keep busy. Taking care of your family, yourself, and finding ways to keep busy. Like I said, pull out the board games, get everyone around the table and play that. Get the kids off the phones. And I mean, there's only so much stuff you can watch on TV. So, pull out some board games or break out the old, if you still got your 2600, break out the old game systems, hook them up, disconnect the PS4 and the Xbox and show the kids, hey, this is what games were like back when I was your age. Hey, why not? Make them do it. Make them take a quiz on it, too, after you're done. How many times does Pitfall Harry have to jump over the barrels in a single game or something crazy like that? Anyway, so everyone, be safe, be healthy, and take care of yourselves and your family. Know that I care about you. I worry about all you guys. And yeah, and I appreciate you. So I will have the next video will be up this weekend. As you probably saw, it's going to be, what is it going to be? I forgot already. Man, I tell you, my memory is just not what it used to be. Like I said, for musical memories, it's going to be Skinner compilations. For board game, it's going to be Yahtzee. And for the life of me, I can't remember what the next Classic Gamer 74 is going to be about. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the AVP of Double Dragon. So, I'm sure many of you have a lot of great memories playing that game. So that's what's coming up. And until I see you guys again, take care of yourselves and have a great and a safe day. See ya.